If during a confrontation you end up on the ground, it is not uncommon for the person that you are in a scuffle with to end up in some sort of turtle position where pretty much they're trying to keep themselves from you taking the back, getting your hooks in, getting to a side control position, especially if you're in law enforcement. So it is very important that if you do end up on the ground that you understand how to break a person down from turtle position. There's multiple different options that you can do that. Obviously, we can work towards back takes and stuff like that. But in this specific video, we're simply just going to go over how do we break a person down from there, and then how do we control it once we've broken them down all the way. So understand the turtle position from this perspective is that they're going to be hiding their heels, they got their feet protected, they got their knees tucked, a lot of times their elbows are going to be tucked in as well so that you can't start working these grips. So this person again is essentially just kind of shelling their body off from me and preventing me from getting any sort of grip. So again, it is very important that you understand how to break the person down from there. Now a couple key points to understand. You have to keep some sort of pressure on this person at all times. I can pressure down on the head. I personally, when it's in this position, I try and keep pressure down towards their mid to lower back. And I like to just make sure that I'm holding on, preferably with a seatbelt grip of some sort, and I'm locking myself in, keeping that chest to back pressure so that if he does try to move around, that my body is able to follow him rather than if I'm up here and he goes to move, it's gonna take me a lot longer to be able to adjust to that. So I try and make sure that I keep this pressure at all times. You also wanna make sure that your weight stays back because if I start leaning too far forward, there's a very good chance that he can toss me over, or if I'm leaning too far over on the far side, there's again the chance that he can toss me over. So those are just kind of a few pointers to understand. Keep your pressure towards the center, and then again, we start working from there. Your first couple options that we're going to go over is under the impression that this person is going to start trying to work themselves back up to their feet. Again, we've ended up on the ground. I'm holding on to the back. He may start posting on this outside foot, and he's basically going to try and just work himself back up into a standing position to where hopefully he can continue the fight from up there. But again, especially if I'm in law enforcement, I want to keep him down here and I want to work towards a restraint. So with the seatbelt grip in hand, the second that I feel that he's starting to post and he's working his way up, you have to kind of do two motions at the same time. Your backhand is going to switch from the seatbelt grip to the back of the hip, and basically all I'm doing is going to be giving this a nice good tug. Your front hand is also going to release from the seatbelt grip, and I'm going to collapse the near side arm. And basically what I'm doing is I'm collapsing his shoulder and his weight down towards me, while at the same time pulling him, so essentially I'm sucking him into my hips from this position. But again, I have to time this of when he starts posting up. So if we're down in this turtle position, he starts coming up, I collapse, I grab, and I pull all at the same time, and we drive this person right back down to the mat. Now again, from this position, I've got his arm trapped, I'm still on his back, I can get a 2-on-1 grip here and I can start driving back into him, and now we can start working towards a back take in this position. You can work to that knee on back position. I can start working the front grip, post on the head, and start working towards a cuffing position. So you do have options again once I'm here, but because I have his arm trapped, it's a lot harder for him to get back up. I feel him start to come up, I collapse and I pull him right back down, and then again, we instantly go to work. All right, your second option, again, if they start to come up a little bit, and you can do this one of two ways. I can maintain the seatbelt grip, or I can switch from a seatbelt to a full body lock, which again, the only difference is I'm not coming over the shoulder, I'm putting both hands around the waist. But either which way, it's up to your preference. Again, as this person starts to post and they start coming up, and all I'm gonna do is come up with them, but I'm literally just gonna step back and rip them into my hip and come right back down to the ground, again, as they're coming up. So he starts coming up, and I pull him right back down into the ground, and once again, we can start working into different cuffing positions. So once again, he starts coming up, we just rip him right back down into our hip, and we start working from there. Now, if in the turtle position that the person decides that he doesn't want to stand up and instead he's just locking everything down, he's not allowing me to move him, I still have to work on breaking him down. But again, I'm trying to break him down towards my hip. So I want to come in. Now you can do this one of two ways. I can either come in behind his arm, grab his wrist, and start driving that pressure down. So again, I'm working his shoulder to the mat. Or once again, you collapse that arm and start driving at the same time. Now the difference is with this one, that this grip doesn't necessarily work in here. So instead, I'm going to reach behind. Ideally, I want to grab the closest heel or top of the foot. If not, then I can grab the far side. But basically, I'm going to pick up one of the legs and start driving that pressure forward at the same time that I'm also collapsing the arm at the same time. So you're going to do both at once. I'm collapsing the arm, driving the hips forward. So if we're in this position and we do it all together, you're pretty much driving this person's full pressure down onto that side of the shoulder. And then once again, we start working from there. He's locking everything down. He's not allowing me to work. He's not posting. You can either collapse or come in here. And as I start working this pressure again, I lift up that heel and I just start driving his shoulder forward. And then you can start working back towards your grips from there. Get the back control, start working in cuff positions, whatever options you want. If you don't feel comfortable grabbing this side, I can also reach, again, from the seatbelt, I can just simply reach across and grab behind his elbow. You can use both hands if you want to. I wouldn't recommend grabbing the wrist because it's very easy for him to just fight out of this or extend his elbow out a little bit. So instead, I like to reach and make sure that I'm grabbing the far elbow. The backhand's doing the same thing. You're just reaching for one of the legs, but this time I'm driving all of my pressure forward, but because I'm collapsing this arm, he has nothing to post on, and therefore he's forced to fall down. So once again, I grab here, I grab that heel, and we just drive him all the way forward. Now, the only difference with this position is if you do this way of taking the person down and breaking the turtle, I have to be comfortable with side control because I'm instantly gonna have to start working towards the side control position, or we start popping up and we start working instantly to our knee on belly type position. Because again, from here, I can guarantee you that this person is gonna start trying to work to get their knees in and recompose them in some way, shape, or form. So you're exposing yourself a little bit, but it is still a very easy way to break the person down. So one more time, full speed. He's resisting everything. I reach across, I grab the heel, I collapse. Now I can start working knee on belly, and we work our positions from there. One thing to touch upon though, once we do hit the mat, whichever way, shape, or form, even if we're off to the side a little bit like this person is gonna probably try and get back to their stomach and again, start working themselves back up into turtle position. So it's important that when you get to these positions, as they start bellying back down, we start isolating arms. Now I can reach across again, and I can start isolating this arm, and we start working this arm back. Again, I can post on the head and work back to a cuffing position from here. If it's the same side arm and he's got the elbow protected, he's laying completely down on his stomach and he's protecting his elbow, I can literally use my knee and actually slide my knee through to get the elevation, pick it up, and again, now we can start working, and you can work Kimuras, Americanas, and you can work different types of shoulder locks to again get back to a cuffing position. I can simply just sit here and ride the elbow and get him into a bit of a Nelson position. And again, rip this arm out. If they're really being a problem, you can come over the top, work different Kimura positions just to isolate the arm, and then we get back into cuffing position, and then we can switch back. So you do have options. You just have to understand that this person's gonna try and get back to their belly, work back up to the top. So you still do need to isolate the arms and get to a safe cuffing or some sort of restraint position to where this person can fight back. So again, just to kind of put it all together, if you end up on the ground and the person starts turtling, I don't recommend necessarily taking their back in those positions because you leave yourself vulnerable to other attackers as well as you're limited on what your options are. But instead, understand how to break the person down, both same side, far side, driving forward, pulling them back, and just understand that you do have to kind of adjust based off how your attacker is moving. But again, once you do break them down, instantly look to start isolating an arm or shoulder so that you can get them into some sort of restraint or cuffing position depending on if you're law enforcement or not. But give these a shot, let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.